Once I create that reel, something happens and I just feel so much better.
Wow.
So that's one thing that helps me stay more motivated, is what I would say. I'll think to myself, why am I doing this? This is not my forte.
Okay.
I am meant to serve the world in some other way. For example, I am a part of a committee, right? I have my own roles. It's something related to an organization that I'm a part of. And in that organization, my primary role is to create presentations and deliver them in a powerful manner. Now, for a lot of people, this is something that they hate. For me, presenting something is something that I absolutely love. So that is something that fuels me. Now, the task that goes with this is forwarding messages. I hate that. I think to myself, why do I have to press these buttons when you have someone else that can do the same at a better pace than me? I don't want to do this.
True.
And they told me that this is a job that you need to do in order to get some recognition as well. I told them to their face bluntly, I don't care about getting recognition through this. I'm here to just contribute in a way in which I feel fueled, and you get the benefit of it as well.
How their journey starts and how it is in the very initial state, what's the qualification and stuff. So I want you to share a bit about that, and I want to, touch that part of your journey.
Okay.
So I want you to share something about that. How was the initial stage, and if you have any story that could sum up that initial phase of yours, then I would like for you to share.
So I'll tell you where it all began. Let's say I have a speech to give on that day, a session to give of sorts, and the session is at 10:30 in the morning. Let's just assume that. Generally, my routine is I wake up around. That was my usual routine. It has changed a bit, but generally I used to wake up around 4:30. Right after that, I meditate for like 30-45 minutes. By 5:30, I brush my teeth, do everything, and I'm still not working upon the speech yet, by the way.
Welcome Mohit Bhaiya, welcome to Kya Haal Chaal podcast, and the very first question from my side to you is, how's your Haal Chaal?
Man, I was doing okay, theek thak. But now that I'm here, man, I am ecstatic.
Yes.
So, yeah, thank you so much for having me, man. Really appreciate it.
Likewise. And I must say, first purpose of podcast, having that excitement is accomplished. So I'm happy about this. I'm having a good feeling about this. So, there's so many things are going on with you, both. Like you have been doing like cohorts, public speaking sessions, so much. So, how does it feel to be like being known among so many youngsters, and like you have done so many sessions in this, so many public speaking sessions, so many cohorts. In fact, recently only with reading psychology, you did one cohort where you taught our youth about like going from being awkward to being completely awesome. And I saw one of your reels where I saw that the energy in this room, and I was so like, I watched that reel, I guess, on repeat for 10 times. I was very geeked out to see that. Wow, that is such a unique concept. So being so inspiring and so much influential in everyone's life, how do you do that? I want to start off with that today.
Now, when you say how do I do that, I want to understand the specifics. What do you mean by your question? How do I do what?
How do you inspire people? Like, how do you inspire people so much, and how do you maintain that consistently throughout every speaking session of yours, or anything in every interaction? How do you maintain that? How do you inspire so much?
So, to be honest, I don't go in with the mindset that I want to inspire them, but I just showcase myself. And I believe it's just the result of me working upon myself consistently, right? Since the time I left school, I got into college, right? I got on this path of self-improvement along every domain of life. So back in college, I remember people used to watch on YouTube, a lot of entertaining stuff, jokes, all of that. I used to spend my time watching self-improvement videos along mindset, self-improvement, communication, productivity, peak performance, things of that nature. So I believe it's just a result of consistently consuming stuff that instead of deteriorates your mind, builds it up.
Wow.
So that's what I think, and it just has been such a long time that I have now been showcasing it through my public speaking abilities, through my reels, stories, and I believe that is the reason this is happening. So I believe that answers your question.
Wow, it certainly does. And I mean, from what I have got to know about you in Toastmasters and in reading circle, it has been very inspiring for me personally to see this, that how in every time you have that, like that positivity in you, despite of whatever happens. And I guess that is something that your whole, like, how can I say this, whole occupation requires, that you always have to be motivated. So starting from that, one thing I want to know is that, as I mentioned, that you have to stay motivated all the time. So, but there must be times where you will be in, like that feeling of despair, that okay, today I'm not having a good day, I'm not, or something might be troubling you in the back of my mind. And it might be like on that same day only you are having a, let's say you are having a public speaking session or something, and you are like, you are having the responsibility to inspire some, like you have to say something to the youth, you have to convey a positive message to the youth, but but that negativity is within you. So how do you, like, confide it, and how do you, like, just go on the stage and kill it?
If I have any negativity inside of me, as soon as I go on stage, I will forget about it.
Oh wow.
It will, कुछ लोग होते हैं ना, that back of the mind, कुछ I'm physically present but mentally somewhere else. When I'm on stage or when I'm talking with you, that will not happen.
Wow.
I will forget जो भी पीछे चल रहा है, and I might have something terrible going on in my life. कुछ बहुत खराब हो सकता है चल रहा हो. You will not feel it.
Wow.
Okay. And one more thing that helps me stay motivated is when I'm in a very bad place, let's say mentally, emotionally, I'll ask myself, what exactly is it that I need to hear? And I don't even script it. I take out my camera, I set it up, and I just shoot a reel in which I understand my own situation and what exactly is it that I need to hear. As soon as I create that reel, sure, other people might resonate with it because they might feel the pain and all of that. But more often than not, that reel is not for them. It's for me. And once I create that reel, something happens and I just feel so much better.
Wow.
So that's one thing that helps me stay more motivated, is what I would say.
And okay, and if you have to, like, advise the same thing to, let's say, someone who is just beginning his journey in the public speaking space, that he or she had a bad day and now on the same day also he's having his public speaking session, like the very first public speaking experience he's going to have. So to him, if you have to suggest something, that okay, if you have had a bad day and on stage you have to forget it, what would be one thing that you will say to him or her to do at that moment?
So what I would say, I'll be brutally honest, would be very different based on the person I'm dealing with.
Okay.
But to give you a framework, that anyone can use to help them get out of a negative situation. So each and every one of us have things that either feed our soul. These are the things that when we do, they make us happy, they energize us. And then there are things that bleed us. Now, these are the things that when you do or when someone makes you do, they suck the energy out of you. For example, something that bleeds me, if I'm doing an action that I know someone else can do instead of me and I'm not the best at it and my time is being wasted, correct? I will feel bled out. I'll think to myself, why am I doing this? This is not my forte.
Okay.
I am meant to serve the world in some other way. For example, I am a part of a committee, right? I have my own roles. It's something related to an organization that I'm a part of. And in that organization, my primary role is to create presentations and deliver them in a powerful manner. Now, for a lot of people, this is something that they hate. For me, presenting something is something that I absolutely love.
Wow.
So that is something that fuels me. Now, the task that goes with this is forwarding messages. I hate that. I think to myself, why do I have to press these buttons when you have someone else that can do the same at a better pace than me? I don't want to do this.
True.
And they told me that this is a job that you need to do in order to get some recognition as well. I told them to their face bluntly, I don't care about getting recognition through this. I'm here to just contribute in a way in which I feel fueled and you get the benefit of it as well. I literally had a conversation with the leader. I stopped doing that thing and I was like, okay, this is something that I want to do. Okay.
Wow.
So similarly, you also have a lot of things that fuel you and that drain you. So when you figure that part out, whenever you're feeling low, think about out of all of the things that you have that fuel you, what can you do right now? Can you create content? Right? For example, if I'm in a very bad place, I just do what fuels me, that is creating content. I put a camera in front of me, I say what I need to say, I'm better.
Wow.
Right? That is one thing that fuels me. What fuels you? Okay, now this is in the long run. Now, what do you do when you have a speech to give and you can't do what fuels you? Because it's not always going to be possible for you to do what fuels you. There's this thing called state management in neuro-linguistic programming. Okay, so what you do in state management is that all of us, the way we communicate, the way we act, our thought processes, our positivity, our negativity, all of that is connected with our mental and emotional state. Right? You need to understand there's number one, physiology, your body language. Okay, if you're demotivated, you are sad, you are upset, your body language is going to reflect that. Right? You'll shrink yourself. That's physiology. And physiology does not just cover your body language, it also covers your health. If you're sick, then your physiology is not going to be good. So health is also a really big part of it. Second is focus. What exactly is it that you are focusing on the positive or on the negative? If you're constantly focusing on the negative, then you're going to be in a bad mood. Okay?
Right.
If you just shift your focus from the negative to the positive, your entire world changes. In fact, the quality of your life is determined by the things you focus upon. Okay, so that's focus. Third is language. Tony Robbins once mentioned this. He had a deal and a business deal going on. And in that business deal, there was a betrayal of sorts. There were 3 partners. And out of the 2 of those partners, one was very negative. Like, oh man, that guy was such an a-hole, right? He was what a douchey move, dude. So that was his reaction, right? It boils my blood. I wanna punch him in the face. That was the first guy. Second guy, so which is Tony, is like, man, I'm so upset. It's terrible what happened, and that shouldn't have happened. And the third guy, after Tony experiences the first guy's problem, he goes to the third guy and he says, man, why aren't you expressing it? Aren't you upset? He's like, I'm annoyed. And he's like, what do you mean annoyed? It was $1 million deal. Doesn't it bother you? I guess it tinkles me. Like, tinkles you? Like what the hell is happening? And then he understands that if you observe the language each and every one of those people use, the first one, my blood is boiling. So the language, it's very intense. Tony, on the other hand, is on the medium end, and the language he's using, it's not that intense. It's just showcasing sadness. And the other person, the third person, he's just annoyed. It tinkles him, right? So even if you were to just change that, whatever you're feeling, instead of labeling it as something big and super negative, if you label it as something that's just a small annoyance, that act in and of itself, external act of labeling it as something that instead of being very terrible is just annoying, is going to affect you from feeling very terrible about it to feeling just annoyed.
Wow.
Right? So these are the three things. Physiology, which is the state of your body, right? How do you maintain that? Focus, right? What are you focusing on, positive or negative? And third thing is language. What kind of language are you using? So this is how now once you do that, you're automatically, your body language changes, right? You feel calmer, you feel happier. And there might be a lot of negativity going on inside of your life, but because of this state that you just managed, you'll not focus on that, you'll focus on this, and you'll focus on the path ahead. So that's something that anyone can implement, is what I believe.
That's the speciality of everything of being a life coach, of being a public speaker in general. And so I want to ask you this, that Mohit Jagwani would not have always been this Mohit Jagwani. Somewhere he must have started.
Correct.
So as I have said before, also before we start this conversation, that we are trying to focus on the professional side of our guest in this podcast, the professional lifestyle. And in the starting, I've asked you a few questions just to like give our audience a view that what they are in for. That this is something that this conversation is going to be very deep. And a lot of questions that I was having prepared. Now, after few minutes into the conversation, it gave rise to so many new questions now from my side. So I want to know about the initial days of Mohit Jagwani, that because a lot of people have heard this term life coach and they're like, okay, it's a very fancy thing, people, and so many inspiring figures, they see that they're doing really great job, but they don't know exactly how their journey starts and how it is in the very initial stage, what's the qualification and stuff. So I want you to share a bit about that, and I want to, touch that part of your journey.
Okay.
So I want you to share something about that. How was the initial stage, and if you have any story that could sum up that initial phase of yours, then I would like for you to share it with us.
So I'll tell you where it all began and what planted this seed of me being a life coach.
Okay.
Back when I was in college, I was a part of VIT, Vellore Institute of Technology. And over there, I was pursuing mechanical engineering.
Okay.
Now, after I did mechanical engineering, I realized I don't want to do anything that's related to mechanical engineering. And while I was doing that, I was a part of this non-profit organization called Make a Difference.
Okay.
And over there, I used to mentor children that were in 11th and 12th.
Wow.
So I was in a way a life coach to them. I did not realize that was something that would make me feel so fulfilled, coaching someone emotionally, mentally, right? And plus the life they have, it is very underprivileged compared to ours. We are very grateful to have the things that we have. They do not have 1% of what we have. So the life they live is very bad. And I was helping them maneuver life in a better manner from whatever knowledge I have, from whatever perspective I had. And I got a lot of them placed in colleges as well.
Wow.
So that is something that made me feel really fulfilled.
That's so sweet.
And after I got out of it, I had this really good skill set where I could communicate really well because of this experience. And I did not just do that part. I also taught academically to children that were in 9th, 10th, and sometimes in 11th and 12th as well. Because I've been through it. To become a mechanical engineer, you need to do science, right?
True.
So I did that as well. And then I got a job in sales.
Okay.
And in that job, I was doing something that was completely opposite to what I did in college. Right? I was helping people for free initially. Now I was charging money, and many times not even helping them. I was just taking things from them. I did that for 6 to 8 months. And I knew what I was going for because I knew that my eventual plan is to do business. That was something that I had in mind initially. And after that, I gave my CAT. I had given CAT before that. I scored 92 percentile without studying in my first attempt. After studying, I scored an 81.
Okay,
right? So I was expecting कि यार पढ़ के दूंगा तो ज़्यादा अच्छा जाएगा, but that did not happen. And my dad was like, listen, you're not going to waste a year, right? Do whatever you want to do, but you're doing an MBA. You can go to a college I don't care whether it's an IIM or not. Initially, I wanted to go in an IIM only. And then I thought if it's not an IIM, then I'm not going to go in an environment that's mediocre. I would rather do a distance MBA. So I chose to do a distance MBA while building myself up, right? While pursuing business, I understood my dad's business. I tried a lot of things. I tried public speaking, and there's this one guy that I consider to be my mentor. And I'll tell his story as well. The first time I heard him speak, it was at a BNI meeting. And I did not know what to expect. I just went there to substitute my mother. My mother was a part of BNI. And towards the end of this meeting, a guy gets up, and that guy is super well dressed, super smart, hair gelled back, almost as if you're looking at a lion that is in a suit with his hair gelled back. And he gets up and he starts speaking. And as soon as he spoke, the entire room was hypnotized. And everyone is hooked by each and every word that person is saying. That person is none other than the executive director of BNI Ahmedabad, Yash Vasant. Right? I got the opportunity to learn from him 2.5 years ago. He has his event called Speak Your Fire. And at that time, I was unemployed. I had quit my job. I had scored really low in CAT. So I was in that phase and I did not know what to do. And everyone else compared to me over there, they were not just employed. They were employing people. They were businessmen.
Wow.
I was an unemployed young person. So I felt compared to them, I'm nothing. But I knew that I wanted to learn this skill and I gave everything that I had in those 2 days. I did every drill that I needed to do, everything I observed, everything that he mentioned, every story he has mentioned in those 2 days, I have it written. Wow. Okay. In the next day, there was a performance.
Okay.
And there was a competition. And I did my part, I spoke my stuff, and I wasn't expecting much because before that, I hadn't come first in anything in my life ever. Okay. So I wasn't expecting to come first, but I was hoping, I was praying, chalo third aa jao or second aa jao. And he goes on stage and he says that the second runner-up of Speak Your Fire is, he says a name. I'm praying to God. I'm hoping that it's mine. He says a name that's not mine. And I'm like, okay, chalo, let's see, second aa jate hai. I pray to God again. He goes on stage. He says that the first runner-up of Speak Your Fire is, says a name, not mine. And I'm upset. Now I've lost hope because I don't know. I feel like I'm not going to win. And then he just goes on stage and he says, the top speaker of Speak Your Fire is Mohit Jagwani. And I was thrilled to bits. I was like, man, I went on stage. People gave me a standing ovation. People clapped for me. He gave me the award. I raised it up. He was like, man, raise it up. You have the crown. And that was the moment that changed my life.
Wow.
If there's one moment that single-handedly changed my life and completely shifted my trajectory, it had to be that moment.
It will take some time for me to react because, something similar, like not a, like first wala to we still am on my way to going this, but there was a time in my life where I was not winning at anything. Nothing was going successful. And that, as you said, that feeling now that when you actually make it to something, it actually happens. Oh man, it's, I that memories just came running.
What was it for you?
It was like at the initial stage only when I was running Jal Initiative, when I was the founder. There was this Kid CEO Summit where all the kid entrepreneurs from all over the world were coming to this online summit. And now they were giving presentations about their startups, about their non-profits and everything. So now there was this presentation round where everyone have to present their startups and they were having some really interesting ones. I was like, there's no way I'll stand a chance of even winning there. And as I said, I was also playing kuch to mil raha hai, something second, third runner up, something, some kind of verbal mention only at least. And I was like, okay, nothing of that sort happened. But almost at the end, when I was almost about to turn off my computer, he said the winner is Apoorv Jha, and I was like,
Oh man.
and let me tell you, at I guess it was when morning 6 a.m. because the time zones were even. I was like, am I daydreaming? Am I dreaming? What? Because I was very sleepy. I just gave my presentation. I just told everything about gel and how I'll be using that initiative to, like spread awareness and stuff. When I won, I was like, okay, it's real. I literally pinched myself. And then I was like, oh yes, it happened. It happened, and that moment was so rewarding for me. And it literally changed a lot. Like, it made me see things from a different way. That good things will take time, but it will happen. From there, I learned the first quote of my life that I have made. That is, nothing changes in one day, but one day comes when everything changes.
Man.
That's a quote that I have learned. I guess I can say that I have learned that day. And I so much felt it. It was like so much resonating with me. As I said, it took me for a while because a lot of memories just came back. Specifically this memory came back running. So yeah, that's something that I can completely, I can feel you on this thing.
Wonderful.
And for you, you were on such a bigger platform because so many people. I can imagine, because Yash he is a great person, and being in that, I can imagine the number of people and having that standing. That feeling is
absolutely. In fact, I decided to also. So he's an NLP practitioner, NLP master practitioner.
Okay.
So he conducts a lot of his event, his visioning master classes, workshops. He does a lot of things, and I modeled a lot of what I did after him, because there are so many similarities between me and him. We are from the same school.
Oh, wow.
Both of us were initially introverts, right? That become forced extroverts. Both of us have the same idol, Kobe Bryant. In fact, I have a tattoo of him, right? So this symbol, right? I showed it to him when we were in Speak Your Fire, and he was like, man, okay, I have the same idol as him. So there are so many similarities between me and him. We have such a common skill set that whatever he's doing, I, in some way, shape, or form, want to do something that's very similar. That's in a way, because whatever he's doing, it's utilizing each and every skill set he has. Right? Otherwise, I become a motivational speaker. The primary thing that I will be utilizing is just my speeches. I will not be creating, let's say, new ideas or something like that. So I wanted something broader that utilizes a lot of my skill set in a much better manner. Now, all of this right now is very discrete. It's distributed. I'm in a path wherein I can channelize all of it. After looking at him, I did a lot of work upon myself. I decided that, okay, I need to understand how can I become a life coach? How can I utilize the skill set I have in the best way possible? So that is how I came to become a life coach. Wow. I believe that answers the question that you asked initially.
Yes, it does it. I mean, the best part, of every, when I'm doing a podcast and I'm asking a question now, the best kind of answers that, I like, and my listeners also like, is the ones that are having a story. That is something that I learned from Mr. Meisner.
Okay.
He was like, whenever I was asking him questions, he was like, we did one interview for all the listeners who are new here. We did an interview with Dr. Evan Meisner, the founder of Business Network International. So you can listen to that. Over there, when I was asking him any question, he was not saying me direct answer. He was attaching a story that, okay, this is the story, and that's how it is done. And I was very fascinated with that approach. Got to learn something new. So I somehow try to, get used to that thing. I tried to adapt it, and it has helped me a lot till now. So yes, and throughout our discussion, one thing that I have observed is that in being a life coach, being a public speaker, one thing that you require is having that teaching abilities. I suppose, and being a mentor, as you said, because you also came from that background. You were a mentor for those kids, and now you are a mentor for so many of us in Ahmedabad. So I want to know about that. How did you develop those kind of teaching abilities, and how, not even if anyone, someone let's say someone like me who is just new to this, not doing anything, not a public speaker, nothing, just a normal student, if he says that if he aspires to be a life coach like you, and he wants to be, he wants to just speak in front of public. He wants to be a great public speaker. So, what teaching abilities will you like specifically say to him? Okay, because I think I'll feel that teaching is very important. Like you
Correct.
should have that sense. Okay, you should be able to teach the audience something. They are expecting something, so you should give it to them. So that is, I guess, something that comes with practice only.
Correct.
But with practice also, you need some other things also that can enhance it definitely. So I want to know something about that in that ballpark only. If you can explain it, what kind of teaching abilities should one be, be aware of? They should practice more often, and they should improvise on that.
So I'll be segregating into two domains.
Okay.
One is one-on-one teaching. The other is one-to-many teaching.
Okay.
Okay. So let's say in one-on-one teaching, the most important skill set that I require is not the ability to speak, but the ability to listen. Right? To elaborate further upon this, there are 4 levels of listening. One is ignoring. Second is pretending. Third is active listening. Okay. You actively listen to each and every word the other person is saying. And if they say something incorrect, you're able to correct them. The fourth is empathetic listening, wherein you don't even care about, even if they say something wrong, you don't care about correcting them because you know that's not the bigger picture. Right? All you care about is the intention and whether or not they understand whatever they are saying. The intention is to understand them. So when you are at that level, you can genuinely understand whether the person that's sitting across you, whatever you said to them, did they understand it or not? Now, when you communicate at that level, when you listen at that level, then things become much more clear and your intention is to help them understand instead of your intention being just to explain. Okay. So when that happens, you are able to customize your learnings for them. Okay. So in one-to-one situation, that's something that really helps, and you'll be able to maximize the other person's potential at the highest level when it's a one-on-one situation. Right? And communication, even if it's mediocre, that's fine because you're able to understand the other person and you're able to, in a way, help them at their level. Now, when it comes to one-to-many communication, now it's not about understanding individually. It's about you and how you are communicating in a way that's simple enough for your crowd to understand. For that, first and foremost, internally, you need to have a lot of clarity.
Okay.
Right? If you don't have clarity, you're not going to be able to communicate whatever you want with precision. It's going to be very foggy, very vague, and it might be very difficult to apply. You might know it, but because you're not conveying it with clarity, they might find it difficult to apply. Okay. So first is internal clarity. That is something that is developed over time through activities like journaling.
Okay.
Writing. When you do that, because consuming is easy, but without actually putting stuff out, you're not able to organize stuff. The simple act of writing forces you to organize things in your head. Right? The more you do it, the more you need to organize inside. And as a result, when you do that, you become very organized internally. So that is how you develop that ability to organize things and gain clarity. Now, once you have done that, once you've journaled enough, you've written that, then comes the outside part, which is your ability to communicate and speak. Okay. So the way you do that is understand that there is a way in which when you communicate, you sound engaging, because that is the first thing that you require to pull them in. Number one, have the ability to grab attention, and number two, the ability to connect. Okay, if I'm grabbing attention but I'm not creating connection, then I'm Instagram, right? You're just scrolling through stuff and you're not deep. Okay, but if I can grab attention and create connection, then I'm a long format video and I am going to give you a lot more.
True.
Okay, so similarly, first part is being engaging. The way you become engaging is by having variety, modulating your voice, having engaging body language, switching languages based on your audience's knowledge. For example, if I know जो भी लोग मुझे सुन रहे हैं, हिंदी, English दोनों उनको समझ में आती है, me switching between those languages also helps, right? Modulating my content. So that's variation, number one. After variation comes connection. The way you build connection is through stories, right? So you couple that with meaningful stories, that whatever you're teaching with, it is connected to a story, then that becomes so much more impactful. So these are the components upon which I believe you should focus in order to become a teacher, an educator, an impact creator. That's all.
I mean, there are a lot of factors in play in this thing. I mean, ranging from active listening to recognizing the environment in a room to recognizing the type of conversation that you are having, and so many more things, as you have said, which is very much, like, I feel if I would have learned it before, like at this point of time, I might have known about it a little bit, and after this conversation, I have got aware about this a bit more. But I feel that if someone at that point of time would have been my mentor now, then I would have been aware about this very well. And today, like, surprisingly, in college also, like today, my teacher came, my branding, like marketing branding. I am not even remembering the name of the subject. New semester, been a few days only, so yes. So happens with the best of us. So हुआ यूं कि like he came in class and he asked कि आज हम लोग बात करेंगे personal branding पे. Like what are you? What is you as a brand? And in that conversation, he somewhere went to the mentor. Like, आपके mentor कौन थे? What is, and even before that, he asked the question कि what is the role of a mentor? And now it made me think a lot, because at that time I have never, like, it's not like I'm too cool for a mentor. No, I'm definitely not.
Nobody
It's,
is.
in fact, it's completely opposite for me. I feel that at that time, if I would have had someone, my journey would have been a bit more easier. Because again, life like throws a lot of stones at you, and your mentor can only show you the way. But if I would have got that way, I would have fought much better. So I thought about it, and during in that conversation only again said something that in today's generation, Gen Z, they don't like the concept of mentors. They're like, मुझे कोई कैसे सिखा सकता है? I am the best. And even he showed me a reel. He showed the whole class a reel. Ki Gen Zs are the most tough generation to work with. Like organizations are giving lakhs to people who are millennials, but they don't want to work with Gen Z because they are having that rebellious kind of attitude, and they don't want a mentor because they think that they are the best. And at that time, I realized that how important it is to have a mentor in life. So I want to know about that only, that like for you, you have had Yash Vasan as your mentor, I'm assuming, and there must be so many more people who have contributed to this. But in today's day and age, where this generation, where so many youngsters like me are considering mentor as not a very essential thing of our life to in order to grow and progress, how do you think that their mindset should be changed? Like, what if you have to change their mindset? How can you share with them any sort of example that would be like that would make them realize that okay, mentor is important. A mentor is important in your life. And I want to know from you that how important is a mentor in someone's life. Like, what is the importance of it? Like, why I should look for a mentor? Because today's generation is asking that question. For me, it is definitely, at that time, I faced a lot of confusions, a lot of bullying when I started public speaking. So through that, if I would have got guidance, a mentor would have helped me. But from your perspective, what's like your take on it? Like, why should we get a mentor?
I believe Gen Zs do have mentors.
Okay.
And I believe those mentors are in form of content creators, is what I believe, I think. And I might be incorrect, and do correct me if you think I am. This is my perspective. And what I believe, for example, if there is a Gen Z person that wants to be rich, they'll probably go on YouTube and they'll look what people are doing. They'll search how to get rich, and that person might find Iman Gaji or Alex Hormozy or someone of that nature. Now, for them, their mentor is that person. Correct? So now that is fine. But the problem is, instead of looking at an outcome-based mentor, what you should look for is someone that is a character-based mentor. Because sure, you might get the knowledge of running a business from an XYZ person. The thing is, that business that that person is running is customized and is working for him because of certain values and certain natural strengths that that person possesses. Most of the time, this is something that is missed by, let's say, whenever you are looking for a solution on YouTube or ChatGPT or whatever. Okay, so first thing you need to understand is, who are you internally? And you are not the same as the person that's giving you the solution. So it might not work for you. In fact, in most cases, the advice that's given to you is not going to work for you. Right? Even if ChatGPT is giving you that advice, how inclined are you towards following that advice? How do you feel about it? Correct? That's a big question. And is it the right advice for you? Are you only following it because it's given by, let's say, ChatGPT, AI, or someone said, or someone big that has a lot of followers said it? It should be aligned with you. And the best way to do that is finding someone that has very similar character or similar values and strengths to you. The reason I consider Yash a mentor, is sure, he's at a very good position and he's doing a lot of things. But the reason I consider him a mentor is because of the things that I share with him already. The commonalities that me and him have in terms of values, in terms of passions, in terms of strengths, in terms of mindset. Correct? For example, again, his passion is public speaking, creating an impact on the elder people, basically businessmen, as well as youngsters. So students, he does both of that. I want to do that too. Right? So passions is aligned, strengths are aligned, a lot of other things are aligned. Right? So that is how I know that he is a mentor for me. Similarly, you're going to have a lot of values. Your values could be abundance, health, whatever. Your values are primarily determined by your upbringing, the way your parents brought you up and the environment that you were surrounded by. Right? If you want to find and understand what your values are, just go up and look for a value finder. Right? How do I figure out my values? And you'll find a lot of tools, techniques, and principles. You can do that. Find your strengths as well. Because without them, you'll be in a maze. You'll be very confused. You'll get a lot of information. Information overload is going to ruin your life. And you'll keep running in circles. So that is something that I would recommend. And find a mentor that has very similar values to the ideal version you want to be. You will naturally feel pulled by this outcome. There are a lot of people that are naturally pulled by me, and there are a lot of people that are naturally pulled by Yash as well. Okay, so you will understand that, okay, I'm naturally pulled by this person. There must be a reason. What is the reason? What is the primary reason? Right? You might not be pulled by the entire thing. You might not want to do the entire thing, but there's going to be one specific thing or 2-3 things that you are really pulled by. Those things are your values and the characters that you strive for. So that is something.
Wow. You know, I just noticed this, like when you were speaking, that as you said that there should be something that you are naturally pulled to. In this whole conversation, I am really, like, if I have to say something now, I'm really pulled by your like voice modulation. I'm really loving the way you are like engaging your voice, and you're like, because that modulation is making this conversation so much more engaging. Somewhere I feel that I lack in that space, and I'm practicing. I'll be very honest, I'm trying to do this, but समय लगता है, अपना समय होता है.
Good things take time.
Yes, definitely. And so, like, how important, like, because you're having such a strong modulation, and I believe that you have like practiced with a lot with it, or is it just something that if you're having it as a natural talent, then so it's like it's one of those things that
it's a natural inclination, and I was naturally inclined to master this. I did not have it from the time I was born, obviously. So I wouldn't say it's a natural talent, but it is something that I am more inclined towards than most people.
So have you like seen its influence, the influence of voice modulation? Like, I'm sure, like, because I have to, like, whenever I've seen you speaking, मैं जब भी like for the first time when I came in ATM, I was like कि इनकी आवाज यार कितना energy है, there's so much energy in this voice. That's, and no disrespect to any other speakers, but I was at the beginning stage, I was थोड़ा, क्योंकि सुबह का भी time था, I was feeling a bit dull, but that energy ना, that kind of gave me the confidence कि हाँ, मतलब I have to like speak, I want to speak, and I will speak. And I guess that's that kind of energy, like I have observed this, that voice modulation does like wonders in when you are speaking. Have you like seen any such kind of instance कि like आपने देखा कि you are like somewhere you have felt कि, okay, the content might not be this strong, but if I use, but because of your voice, everyone were like completely impressed. कि, okay, this guy has just nailed it. Any sort of experience that happened with you?
A lot. You could say the same thing, and if you say it in a way that's powerful, in the right way, it does wonders.
Wow.
So it does have a huge impact. For example, there are 3 vocal ranges, right? One is the visual range. In the visual range, you're very energetic, you're very expressive, you're using a lot of your hands, your pace is fast. This is the range of energy. That is the visual range. Second is the auditory range. Auditory range where you're not very energetic, you're not very calm, you're in the middle. Now this range, if you do this poorly, you'll sound very monotonous and people will be like, bhai, meko yahan se jana hai. Right? Constant pace, and it's very boring.
True.
Third is the kinesthetic range. This is the range of calmness. This is the range of control, of soothing feeling. So when you listen to a guided meditation, it is in the kinesthetic range. And you feel calm. Things slow down.
Wow.
These are the 3 vocal ranges. Whenever you want to express a high energy emotion, you use the visual range. Whenever you want to convey that an emotion that's not very high energy, that's low energy, right? It could be calmness, or it could be, it's not necessarily positive, negative emotion. For example, depression. That's a low energy emotion. Anger, it's a high energy negative emotion. Right? So when I want to be angry, I'll be visual. When I want to show that I'm depressed, I'll be kinesthetic. Right? The positivity or the negativity also is heavily influenced by your expression as well as the way you use your body. So it's a combination of all of these things, right? So high energy, whether it's positive or negative, visual, calm energy or low energy, whether it's positive or negative, kinesthetic, everything else that's in the middle, auditory. That is how you use and modulate your voice. You practice it enough times, right? With this intention, you master voice modulation. You master voice modulation. So yeah.
Wow. And along with voice modulation, I guess this is my observation that body language plays, like, it might be a small percentage only, but it plays a very great role.
It plays a big role.
It really plays, like, I have seen in myself only, I have observed in situations now, like, I have gone for public speaking. Like the very first session, I remember I did it in 7th, and to be very honest, I did all that somewhere expecting that I'll impress my then crush. I'll be honest. I'll be very honest. Even I said it on one of my podcasts that I like the one that we did. There is also one podcast that we did with Aksari. I'm plugging in too much. I'm sorry, but there's so many references that I can connect with this whole conversation. In 7th, I did that. I did it for 10th standard kids, and I was so scared. I'll be very honest. Everything, like the ground beneath my feet was gone. I was like, no. How will I do this? Because they are seniors, they know so much more. And I was very nervous in that because I have never done something like that. The very first time I was like ever on stage officially, I was taking a personality development session in 7th standard. I got that opportunity and I was very nervous, I'll be very honest. But when I did it, I felt good. I felt that, okay, I actually did it. It taught me a lot of things, and in this like whole voice modulation thing, I so felt that moment just came to me. कि yeah, वो आवाज अगर उस दिन थोड़ा सा like confidence and वो आवाज अच्छी होती है, I guess things would happen different by now. But okay, I'm happy with what I'm having right now. That's a completely different conversation. But yes, yeah, and in that hopes that I'll be doing better next year. What I did was I again did this. That time, what the difference was that I was having that power in my voice. That visual range was very strong. That was so strong, and I was having that confidence, that boldness, and everyone was very impressed. They were like, okay. Good improvement, right? I mean, I'm not having the words to express that, but that was beautiful. That was a beautiful session. I did well on my part, I believe, and from there I got that confidence. And with that confidence, now I am here having this conversation with Mohit Bhaiya, which is very lovely. Look at that! That is powerful. I guess that is the power that I felt from you, from your like entire conversation of this, from your journey. And that's why that was one of the main reasons for me to have this conversation, because I have seen you speaking and I wanted my listeners to go through this, to understand
Nah.
this, that it's very, it's very influential. You'll be inspired a lot. And also now, since you have this job of inspiring so many people, I want to know that what is like in your life, like how is a day in your life, how things go, like what's your framework before, if you have to go for a session, for a public speaking session or for a live coach session, because I'm also not very much aware about this field. So how do you plan things? What is like the whole framework behind that, and some behind the scenes I want to know, if I have to
Okay.
be very blunt.
Got it. So let's say I have a speech to give on that day, a session to give of sorts, and the session is at 10:30 in the morning. Let's just assume that. Generally, my routine is I wake up around. That was my usual routine. It has changed a bit, but generally I used to wake up around 4:30. Right after that, I meditate for like 30-45 minutes. By 5:30 I brush my teeth, do everything, and I'm still not working upon the speech yet, by the way. So after 5:30 I'll try, and if I do have time, I'll get a workout in, and I'll do 30 to 45 minutes of that, right? I'll come back, shower. That whole routine takes around 1.5 to 2 hours. So let's say by 7:30 I'm done with my morning routine. I'll have breakfast and all of that, and then I'll, in a way, just form a mind map.
Okay.
Just a mind map of what I'm supposed to cover in the event that lies ahead. Whether it's for 7 minutes, whether it's for 2 hours, whatever it may be. एक दिन पहले शुरू भी नहीं होता है in most scenarios.
Okay.
Right? Because I am well aware about the things that I want to share. कुछ भी नया मैं नहीं बोलने वाला हूँ. Everything that I'm going to share is going to be from my past, from things I've read so far. And I continue to read on a regular basis, on a daily basis. So upskillment is a huge part of me. Daily, on a daily basis, I read for 1 hour.
Wow.
Right? I read, I consume knowledge, something or the other. I keep on upskilling myself. So knowledge is never an issue for me. So when I do that, I just structure whatever I want to do. And based on the time I have available, and I gauge my audience, and everything just comes naturally to me in that moment. I just make sure that I want to keep the engagement as high as possible, because if it's engaging throughout, they will learn the most. If it's not engaging, then they'll not learn as much as well, and the impact decreases. I want to make sure that I'm providing the maximum amount of impact possible, right? So I just make sure I'm keeping it as engaging as possible, and then I just go in this session. Initially, I have my heart beating fast. I have that energy. To channelize that energy, I begin with energy.
Wow.
As I move forward, the energy comes under control, and I take the rest of the session, and I just make sure that it's as engaging as possible. I'm asking questions, I'm helping them understand, I'm asking them whether they understood it or not, and then I end it in a concluding manner on a powerful note. So that is how the entire day goes. And the evening, I will probably look at, let's say, the content part. What exactly is it that I need to upload on Instagram, YouTube? I'll take care of that. If I have a client meeting, maybe I'm coaching someone, I'll fit that in. So that part is fixed, right? Once that time slot is blocked, everything happens around that time slot. Me creating content, editing it, all of that, right? I'm looking for an editor. My recent editor left. So that's something. And I just take a look at that. And then the rest of my day goes forward. And in the end, I just journal how my day went, what were some things that were really good, and I measure my unproductivity, right? Because initially I used to measure my productivity, how productive I was. That used to fluctuate a lot, because what I consider productivity was something that's very, if I'm doing something that's highly leveraged and I'm producing a lot of output, for me that was really productive. Other things like meetings, I did not consider them as productive. Now, once I shifted my mindset from measuring my productivity to unproductivity, then it helped me progress faster, because then I know that, okay, ye nahi karna instead of ye karna hai. So that helped me, and that happens. I just maintain that in my journal and I end my day. So that's an overview of my day for you.
And I would like to say one thing over here. This whole day looks very productive, by the way. This whole thing, like this whole process only looks very productive. And I guess today I got to learn so many things from this conversation. And uh, I don't want to say this, but I guess it's ritual now that we are almost at the end of this session. Time is our enemy, which I now in every episode I've said this. It's like a record. It's a record, and I guess that's the beauty of doing a podcast. You always learn so many more things from your guests. So many new things I've learned in this a few number of episodes now that I feel sometimes I feel okay, I'm a scholar, but I'm not. I'm not. It's just
okay.
one of those, like nirvana moments that sometimes that you have, but it's not. I'm just like all of you. I'm learning. So yes. So before wrapping up, a few more questions. That is the first one being, who is Mohit Jagwani? Not the life coach I'm asking about, not the motivator influencer I'm asking about. I'm asking about the person, the friend, the son. I'm asking about him. What is he like? How is he in real life? How is he like in real life? I'll say apart from his professional life, how is he? And what is his whole life about?
I believe I would like to sum it up in just one sentence. Someone that wishes to make his parents as proud as possible.
That's a very strong statement, and I guess that's something that all of the youngsters should learn today. Because
So
I strongly believe that.
that's most definitely one thing. Now the way I do it is obviously I just utilize the strengths that God has given me to the maximum extent, right? Naturally, obviously I'm inclined towards all of these things, public speaking, creating an impact. Everything that I just receive, my single goal is, okay, with the money that I'm making, how can I make my parents' lives better? How can I enrich their lives? How can I make sure that they get the most amount of comfort possible? So, whatever I get, my primary motto is going to be that increasing the quality of their lives. Now, as a result, obviously, if I'm increasing the quality of their lives, my life is automatically going to elevate. So, that is something. And to sum it up in just one sentence, that would be it. But apart from that, what are the different identities I have separating my parents from myself? I am an athlete, right? I'm a hybrid calisthenics athlete. I really enjoy doing workouts that involve a lot of body movement. For example, I can do pull-ups with external weight of 30 kilos added on my body.
I have seen that. I have seen that. I'll be honest, when I saw that, now I was like, dude, this guy's crazy. How? Yeah, please. I was like, it's very impressive. I'm short of words to say that's your fitness and your calisthenics. When I saw the stories now, I was like, how? How? So many things at once. A whole package.
I believe it's not so many things at once. I believe because of these things, I am this person. So it's all interconnected. My confidence is there because I am good at not just speaking, at working out as well.
Wow.
I'm good at connecting with people. I'm good at public speaking. I'm good at thinking things through, right? I'm good at fashion, right? So all of these things are interconnected, and all of these things help me elevate myself and the people around me.
Wow.
Correct? So hybrid calisthenics, athlete, educator, right? I love
Definitely.
educating people, whether they are young as 16, 17, right? Or as old as business people. So I've coached people that are as old as 40, 45, right? And I thank them to be humble enough to learn from me. And I thank myself to not be arrogant enough to say that, oh, I'm this. And in fact, to be honest, in that arrangement, I'm the one that has learned more. Yet they paid me. So I'm blessed, So a lot of ways in which I want to help people. It could go on and on. But yeah, to sum it up, I'm a son. I am a brother, right? My sister lives in USA. I do a lot of things for my nephew as well. So I'm a mama. Apart from that, I am an impact creator. I'm an educator. I'm a speaker. I am an empath, I love connecting with people, right? So I'm an impact creator basically. So that is how I would sum it up.
And I agree with all of that. I strongly agree with all of that. One last question for this amazingly awesome conversation, that is, any message for our awesome listeners, for them?
Always continue to invest in yourself. Always. That is one investment that will never go wrong. You might invest in stocks, crypto, real estate, whatever you invest, you may or may not get a return out of it. But things that will always return, give you a good return, are things such as knowledge, books, right? If you really have a yearning to learn something, dive deep and don't just learn it, execute it. Look at it from a lens of implementation and implement as much of it as possible, either through teaching, and once you're done learning, try and teach it as well, because that is the best way you can implement it. Teach it, execute it, and all in all, think about how can you create the most amount of impact through the skill set that God has given you naturally. How can you create the most amount of impact using that skill set and make this world a better place? Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. Thank you so much, Mohit Bhaiya, for joining us today.
And let me just share a few words about you, Apoorv. So first and foremost, thank you so much for having me. What you are doing is incredible. And please continue to do this. The impact that you'll be creating is massive. You have a lot of clarity for a person that is as young as you. And once again, thank you so much for having me. I had an amazing time being here.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. That means a lot to us. That means a lot to the whole team, because of whom I'm sitting here and having this conversation. So, thank you, everyone. Thank you to all my listeners. And yes, thanks to God for giving me this opportunity. And with that, we are at the end of this episode. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. This is your host and host, Apoorv Jha, taking your leave. I'll meet you guys in the next episode. Till that, see you all. Bye, everyone.